Greetings, blessings, and wholeness. Today is day one on SunShine Farm, so let's get into it. I wanted to do a before video after I make any initial indentations. All I've done so far is surveyed the land and picked up some trash. So let's get into what that looks like and identified some of the plants that are growing around. So first off, oh, look at how beautiful it is. I haven't seen skies this blue since like my childhood. I haven't learned the names of the mountain ranges yet. I'm still getting a good sense of where my direction is, but picking up some trash. This is like a depot for trucks and some other equipment. I don't really know. Just like kind of looks like a depot, like a stash depot for extra stuff. Anyways, that's separate from this. And this is just kind of like the entrance in through here. And this little circle right here was just previously a turnaround. Like literally this is just where cars came in and turned around. So it's degraded land, sandy desert soils with low organic matter and low nutrients, but that's the whole point. There's so much degraded land out there, and it's not always going to be the pasture, the beautiful pasture with all the acreage and the land. So there's a lot of underutilized land out there, and it's a matter of you, if you're wanting to grow food, doing some networking and aligning with the people who have such degraded land. It's not always going to be degraded. They might just want to see it be farmed, and they might be a little bit older and may not be able to do it anymore. But in this case, the owner of this land just has this land, and it's being put to no use other than a big truck turnaround. Oh, so there's also a lot of compaction here. But so what I'm noticing is that there's no plants growing where the trucks were driving for the most part. So that's just showing that it's very, very compacted with too much disturbance. But out there in the center, where it was just getting drove around in a circle, that's where all of the majority of the plant habitat is. Some of them are tumbleweed, Russian thistle, type of willow herb, that one right there, and then some tansy, this one, which I would like to save seed from and keep this one in the landscape because it's good for the pollinators. So I might leave those and let them finish up. Oh, they're already going to seed right here. So I can save that seed. I don't know if it needs to be cold stratified. We could just let it spread. Anyways, these tumbleweeds though, they're just unforgiving. Honestly gonna need some gloves to handle those. My idea is just to get some hedge trimmers or some snippers and just snip them from the bottom, make a big pile, maybe push them out there somewhere. We got some planes out in the distance, so I think I may just try to utilize this whole spot and go all the way out to here. So right now we're facing like southeast, and this way would be northwest. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to lay the beds. Thinking where the wind's coming from. In the wintertime, it's coming straight out of the north. In the summertime, it's coming straight out of the west. Rarely does it come out of the south or out of the east, but we have the fence for the south, so that doesn't really matter. And then it's probably not coming out of the east, only on a rare weather occasion, I would infer, like used to happen back east. But we did have the ocean influence. There's not that out here, so highly unlikely it's going to come out of the east. So really what we got to worry about is the north and the west. And there is also that big mountain, but I would infer that the wind just comes up and over and then just flows into the valley. I can feel it doing that right out of the north over here. So me getting to what I'm trying to explain is the bed layout. So on my first plot, I ran beds north to south, and on my second plot, I ran beds west to east. So I'm trying to think about how I'm going to do that here. Am I going to lay them out north to south or west to east? But what's different about this is it's kind of like going to be each flat side of the square. Well, it's an odd shape plot. So some beds are going to be shorter than others. Like from here to about like here, the beds will be the same length, and then they're going to start to get shorter. So my thought process was, if I run the beds north to south, then the wind's going to come right down the rows the whole winter time. So for winter production, I guess that's not the best. Maybe going to want to grow like a hedgerow on the north that'll die back and just become like a standing wall in the winter time that could help protect the wind, like I used to do with the sunchokes or the Jerusalem artichokes. Could start planting those out here. If you don't know what those are, they're like a 12 to 18 foot tall sunflower with an edible tuber, and they were one of the main food sources for some of the natives back east. I don't know if the natives out west grew those, but it may be highly likely. I have to do some more research on that. So you're gonna have the main wind of the winter coming straight through your rows. But in the summertime, when it's coming out of the west, since they're going to be going this way, north-south, the rows kind of will create like a wall effect, and it'll break up the wind because we're talking like row, 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 row. So right, the wind's coming through this way, and it kind of gets broken up by all of the rows of crops, rather than if I did the beds west to east. Then in the summertime, just like in the wintertime, you're gonna have the wind coming directly through the rows. And I don't think that you want that because it's already really dry out here. But I could do the beds, exactly, southeast to northwest, and that's what I was kind of talking about on the diagonal thing. Yeah, that might be good. Oh wow, yeah, because then then the crops would be blocked. It would create a wall for the north wind in the winter, and it would create a wall coming out of the west. Oh wow, so I might do it like that. I've just never done it like that before, so I have to really think about it and draw it out on paper. But then my other thought process is that, so when you put the rows north to south, then the way that the sun moves over them in the day, the next row can kind of create the next row, like this row of crops, as the sun moves, can kind of create shade for the row next to it. So I'm thinking about, you know, shading, probably planting a lot closer together just because of how dry it is out here, and I'm most likely going to just solely be practicing dry farming because I have access to irrigation that goes through this park. There's a whole bunch of fruit trees and a little community garden beds and some berry bushes over there. But I got the water test for the town's water, and yeah, we'll have to do a deeper discussion on that. I have to do more research on it, to be completely honest with you myself, because I just I don't have enough knowledge on all of those amounts of chemicals that are in the water. So basically what I'm saying is that for the suggested safe amounts that they're saying is in the water, I don't know that if that's really true. And they said that the EPA literally readjusted their levels to kind of make it okay. So it's just like they raised the levels just so it doesn't seem like it's bad for you anymore. I don't know if that makes any sense. I can't really articulate it the way I want to right now, but stay tuned for more of that. But my point is that the majority of the moisture we get out here comes in the wintertime from these mountains via snow and sometimes rain. But we're up here at 5,200 feet. So, but even that being said, I just talked to a local and he said it rarely gets down to 10 or even 5 degrees up here. It really only gets down to like 20 and the 25s. And I've been trying to grow through the winter for the past 3 years, and I've been dealing with temperatures like -20, -30, -40 at its worst, and still was able to get root systems to overwinter. They die back completely, but I'm thinking out here you wouldn't have that complete dieback, and you're at least able to take the season into late December. I mean, it's October 4th today, and it's going to be like 90. The locals have also said that it wasn't always like that, and we could get a first frost out here by September, late September. But although that means something for your tomatoes, it doesn't really mean too much for all your cold, hardy winter greens. It's actually good for them. So thinking about all that. So now that we talked about the row layout and all of that, basically it's going to be, all I need is a shovel. I've got my pruners. I'm getting a shovel tomorrow. Just wanted to come up here today and get an initial site assessment. I didn't realize there was all this trash, so I'm picking up this trash and just trying to make it clean before start growing some vegetables in this soil. And something else that I've learned is that Nevada has just a very good climate and soils for alliums, so onions. I believe like Urington, Nevada is like the onion capital of the world, so I've heard, and that's not too far from here. So being that I want to specialize in garlic and overwintered onions and regular season storage onions, shallots, along with all of the other greens, might have stumbled upon the perfect climate for it. So focusing on the dry farming, it's just going to be the same system as usual. Deep pathways, raised beds, deep composition of mulches. Got to get some compost out here. I mean, this stuff is, I already got a connection for some local wood chips. But I mean, it's just blowing away in the wind. But this is just so compacted, so I think that under this, deep down, there's like some good native soil, and if I could get some mulch on it, some garlic in it, and some cover crop seed down, and some moisture on it, then I think we'll be going somewhere. So I am, as I talked about in the video yesterday, I am going to do a first initial till, because I mean, it's like I'm standing on pavement right now. So that tiller goes down about 10 inches. It's gonna loosen up all of this soil, and I'm gonna get it sown to the cover crop and lay it with mulches and get the garlic in the ground. Things may move a lot faster because I'm not having to scythe down grass before I make the beds. It's still a big project nonetheless for one person, but I'm ready to take it on. Got to take things to the next level this coming year. Had a little bit of a setback year this past season, but that's okay. Every farmer has that. These beautiful roses coming out in October. Maybe something to look into. Like these ones all didn't even sprout yet. So yeah, maybe run the beds diagonally. Well, that's what I got for today. I'm gonna do more thinking and envisioning on bed layout. And obviously I have a lot of work ahead of me, so let me get to it. I'm gonna try to do a video update every day that I'm here, just so you can see the process as it moves forward. I appreciate everybody's help, support, ideas. Let me make that very clear. I'm open to any suggestions. Very unexperienced with growing in this climate, so if you're experienced with high desert annual production and perennial production, let me know in the comments. What do you think about this whole project, and how do you think that it's going to work out? And any ideas for me to make it better than what I've already explained? I'll stay tuned for all that, and you stay tuned for more updates. So one love, blessings, peace, and wholeness, and we will see you on the next one. Sunshine Farm, day one. See you soon.